The setting was a bustling street in New York City, a blur of motion and ambition. But right in front of a gleaming showroom called Cycle World, one small life was frozen in place. 5-year-old Jack, with his dark skin, tightly coiled hair, and an ancient sadness in his eyes, stood in his worn, threadbare shirt. His dreams, like his shadow, were cold and silent. He was outside a dazzling world, a world that smelled of chrome and bright paint. Inside the showroom, dozens of bicycles sparkled, red, blue, yellow. The tiny bells on their handlebars seemed to chime, calling Jack's name. But his gaze was locked on one bike, a brilliant, glossy blue racing bicycle with a small flag attached. It wasn't just a bike. It was freedom, a ticket to a better tomorrow, and an escape from the orphanage's cold walls. Jack was an orphan. His home was the Sunshine Children's Home, and where a strict routine and a hard cot were the extent of his universe. The warmth of a mother's love or a father's embrace was a concept he only knew from storybooks. Just then the showroom door opened. A boy, about 6, impeccably dressed, walked out hand in hand with his father. The father embraced his son lovingly, and the boy swung his leg over his brand-new identical blue racing bike. Pure joy spread across the child's face like the first rays of morning sun. He rang the bell, ring ring, and pedaled away happily with his dad. The scene was unbearable for Jack. He watched this ritual often. Wealthy parents arrived, bought bikes, and witnessing the pure, unadulterated happiness in the children's eyes always created a hollow ache in Jack's chest. Today, as the blue bike sped away, the dam of his emotions broke. Salty tears welled up in his little eyes, and he began to cry silently. He quickly hid his face in his hands so no one would see his vulnerability. One question echoed in his heart. Why not me? Are my dreams only meant to stay behind glass? He wiped his tears, took a deep breath, and gave the blue bike a final, longing look. In that moment, the sorrow gave way to a small, fierce flame igniting within him, a firm resolve. He turned toward the orphanage. Jack made a silent vow to himself. One day I won't just buy that blue bike. I will achieve so much that no other child will ever have to feel this kind of pain. The Sunshine Children's Home was a place of discipline and strict rules. Yet Jack found a way to keep his dream alive. He knew the only path to owning that bike was through hard work and knowledge. Jack's dedication to his studies was extraordinary. Even after lights out, after all the other children were asleep, he would read under the beam of a borrowed flashlight. For him, every book was a wheel of the blue bicycle propelling him toward his goal. He began taking on small, demanding jobs. Newspaper route early in the morning. While the city slept, Jack sold newspapers on the streets. He lovingly saved every coin in an old dented tin can. Shoe shining. On weekends, he would set up a small stand in the park corner, shining shoes for passers-by. Odd jobs. He took on errands for neighborhood shopkeepers, fetching and carrying supplies. During every exhausting task, whenever he felt like giving up, the image of the blue bicycle frame flashed in his mind, urging him forward. A moment of hardship. Once, while selling papers, a motorcyclist clipped him, scattering his meager savings all over the street. He cried but immediately got back up. He learned that life will always knock you down, but winners are those who know how to stand up. By the time he turned 18, he left the orphanage and enrolled in college. He studied during the day and worked as a waiter in a diner at night. Many nights he went to bed hungry. Many times he was on the verge of collapsing from exhaustion. But the dream of the blue bike was his constant driving force. His hard work and sharp intellect began to pay off. He specialized in the field of technology and software, the next great revolution. When Jack turned 30, he was no longer the crying orphan boy outside the showroom. He was Jackson Thomas, the founder and CEO of Vision Tech, a global technology powerhouse. His software had changed the world, and Jack was now one of the wealthiest men alive. His life had completely transformed. Attire. He now wore suits from the world's finest designers. Residence. He lived in the most luxurious penthouse in New York, with the entire city spread out at his feet. His garage housed the most expensive and fastest cars in the world. A sleek black Rolls-Royce, a fiery red Ferrari, and a powerful Lamborghini. One day Jack was cruising through the city in his Ferrari. The roar of the high-performance engine and the envious glances of pedestrians were now part of his existence. He stopped at a red light. His eyes drifted across the street. He saw it, Cycle World, the same old showroom. He froze. The scene flashed before his eyes. The same blue bike. The same glass window and the 5-year-old boy weeping outside. In that moment, the shine of the Rolls-Royce and the Ferrari dulled. The cars, the money, the fame, it all felt meaningless. Despite all of it, the orphan boy within him was still there, still dreaming of obtaining that one bike. The next day, Jack canceled his entire schedule. He had his driver take him to Cycle World. He walked through the door he had spent years crying outside of. The showroom owner, now an old man, looked at Jack in astonishment. Jack asked him, "Can that exact blue racing bike still be found?" The owner replied, "That model was discontinued, sir, but we have a rare original sample of the bike, which we've kept as a historic keepsake." Jack bought it. When the bicycle was brought before him, Jack touched it. In that moment, he was not the 35-year-old successful businessman. He was 5-year-old Jack finally touching his dream. He didn't just buy the bicycle. He bought every single blue bicycle currently in the showroom. But this was not the end of the story. It was a new beginning. Jack realized that true joy isn't in receiving, but in giving. He immediately launched a new mission. Blue Wheels Charity Foundation. Jack dedicated a significant portion of his wealth to this foundation, whose sole purpose was to aid underprivileged and orphaned children. Establishment of Sunshine Homes. He opened his first orphanage near the location of his old one. But this was a modern center equipped with the best facilities. He named it Sunshine Homes. This home provided every child with the best education, nutrition, and clothing. He focused heavily on technology education, the gift of the wheel. Every year, he personally visited the orphanages on Christmas. His most cherished tradition was giving every single child a shiny, beautiful bicycle, often the very same blue bike model. Beyond the bikes, he stressed the importance of technology and education. An emotional moment. Once, as he handed a bike to a little boy, the child's eyes held the same pure, selfless joy Jack used to watch from outside the showroom window. Tears filled Jack's eyes once more. But this time they were not tears of sorrow, but of fulfillment and peace. He told the head of the orphanage, "I am not just giving these children a bike. I am giving them freedom and a dream. Tell them their today does not dictate their destiny." Jackson Thomas showed the world that poverty can be your past, but not your future. His greatest assets were no longer his Ferraris, but the laughter and blessings of thousands of children. Jack didn't just fulfill his childhood dream. He gave thousands of children the chance to dream big, too. His blue bike was no longer just a toy. It had become a symbol of hope, struggle, and generosity, and Jack, who the world had once left behind, now stood at the forefront, guiding the world with the wheels of his heart. This is not just a story about an orphan. It is a saga of hope and perseverance. It demonstrates that when a heart breaks, it can either shatter permanently, or it can find the strength to change the world. Jack's dream, which began with just a blue bicycle, ultimately became a grand purpose that illuminated thousands of lives. And so the boy who once wept now gave the world a reason to smile.